Let's be honest, most of us don't think twice about what's on our plates. We're hungry, we eat. It's a simple equation, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder about the journey your food takes before it lands on your plate? From the farm to the market, and finally to your kitchen, there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. But there's a silent revolution happening in our food. This revolution is not about new recipes or exotic ingredients. It's about the very essence of what we eat. It's about the science that goes into growing our food, and it's changing everything. It's called genetic modification, and it's changing the way we grow and consume food. Imagine a world where crops can withstand harsh climates, resist pests without the need for chemical pesticides, and even offer enhanced nutritional benefits. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. Now, before you picture scientists in labs splicing tomatoes with tarantulas, let's get something straight. Genetic modification isn't about creating monstrous hybrids. It's about precision and care. It's about making small, deliberate tweaks to a plant's DNA to improve its characteristics. Genetic modification, or GM, is about making small tweaks to a plant's DNA. Think of it as giving a plant a software upgrade. Just like how your phone gets updates to improve its performance, plants can get genetic updates to help them thrive better. It's like giving a plant a software upgrade to help it resist pests, tolerate drought, or pack in more nutrients. These upgrades can lead to higher yields, less reliance on chemical pesticides, and crops that can grow in challenging environments. But here's the catch: GM foods have sparked a global debate. While some see them as a solution to food security and agricultural sustainability, others are concerned about the potential risks. On one side, you've got folks cheering about ending hunger and boosting nutrition. They argue that GM foods can help feed the growing global population and provide essential nutrients to those in need. On the other, you've got people worried about unknown health risks and environmental mayhem. They fear that tampering with nature could have unintended consequences, both for our health and for the environment. So, who's right? What's the truth about GM foods? The reality is, it's a complex issue with valid points on both sides. It's not just about science. It's about ethics, economics, and the future of our planet. Buckle up, folks, because we're about to dig into one juicy food fight. We'll explore the science behind genetic modification, hear from experts on both sides of the debate, and look at real-world examples of how GM foods are impacting our lives. Get ready to uncover the facts, the myths, and everything in between. This is a food fight you won't want to miss. Let's face it, the idea of messing with Mother Nature's recipe can make anyone a tad squeamish. For some, it's the ick factor. Imagining scientists in lab coats tinkering with our food just feels unnatural. Then there's the fear of the unknown. We've all heard the horror stories: frankenfoods causing allergies, superweeds running rampant, and big corporations controlling our food supply. And let's not forget about good old-fashioned skepticism. We've been burned before by promises of miracle products that turned out to be duds. So when we hear about GM foods being the answer to world hunger, it's only natural to raise an eyebrow. But here's the thing about fear. It thrives on what we don't know. To make informed choices about GM foods, we need to separate fact from fiction. Okay, let's talk turkey, or rather, GM corn. Genetically modified crops have been a hot topic for years, stirring up debates and discussions across the globe. But what exactly makes them so special? One of the main arguments for genetic modification is its potential to supercharge our food supply. Imagine a world where food scarcity is a thing of the past, where every person has access to nutritious and abundant food. Picture this: crops that can laugh in the face of drought, shrug off pests, and yield bigger, more nutritious harvests. These crops are designed to thrive in conditions that would normally devastate traditional crops, ensuring a stable food supply even in the harshest environments. Think about it. Farmers could grow more food using less land, water, and pesticides. This means more efficient use of our natural resources, reducing the environmental footprint of agriculture. With GM crops, we could potentially see a significant reduction in the use of harmful chemicals, leading to healthier ecosystems and cleaner water sources. That's a win for farmers, a win for the environment, and a win for our rumbling bellies. Farmers would benefit from higher yields and lower costs, while consumers would enjoy a more reliable and affordable food supply. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality too. GM crops can be engineered to enhance their nutritional content, providing us with healthier food options. Imagine fruits and vegetables that are not only bigger and tastier, but also packed with essential vitamins and minerals. Scientists are working on GM crops that are packed with extra vitamins and minerals like golden rice, which is engineered to combat vitamin A deficiency in developing countries. This could have a profound impact on global health, particularly in regions where malnutrition is a major concern. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds too good to be true, right? There are certainly concerns and questions surrounding GM crops, from their long-term health effects to their impact on biodiversity. Well, let's delve into the science and see if these claims hold water. Researchers around the world are conducting extensive studies to understand the full implications of GM crops. They are examining everything from their safety for human consumption to their effects on the environment and non-target species. It's also important to consider the social and economic aspects. How do GM crops affect small-scale farmers? Are they accessible to everyone, or do they create new inequalities in the food system? These are critical questions that need to be addressed as we move forward with this technology. Ultimately, the potential of GM crops is vast, but it's up to us to navigate the challenges and ensure that this technology is used responsibly and equitably. By doing so, we can harness the power of genetic modification to create a more sustainable and food-secure future for all. Section 4. Frankenfoods and Fairy Tales, Debunking the Myths. Let's clear the air about those scary GM food myths, shall we? First up, the big one: GM foods will give you some horrible disease. The truth? There's no scientific evidence to support the claim that GM foods are inherently unsafe to eat. In fact, every major health organization in the world, from the World Health Organization to our very own Food Standards Australia, New Zealand, agrees that GM foods currently on the market are safe for human consumption. Another myth bites the dust. But what about those superweeds and pesticide-resistant superbugs? It's true that overuse of any technology can lead to unintended consequences. However, responsible agricultural practices like crop rotation and targeted pesticide use can help prevent these issues. It's about using GM technology wisely, not abandoning it altogether. Section 5. Science on the Side of Reason. What the experts say. In today's world, where information is abundant and opinions are diverse, it's crucial to turn to experts who dedicate their lives to understanding complex issues. When it comes to genetically modified GM foods, the scientific community has been at the forefront of research and innovation. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I know a thing or two about asking tough questions. It's important to challenge assumptions and seek evidence-based answers. That's why I turn to the experts to understand the real story behind GM foods. And when it comes to GM foods, the scientific community has been hard at work for decades, studying their safety and impact. Researchers have conducted numerous experiments, from lab-based studies to field trials, to ensure that these foods are safe for consumption and the environment. The consensus? Overwhelmingly, studies have found no evidence that GM foods are harmful to human health or the environment. This conclusion is not based on a single study, but on a vast body of research conducted over many years. In fact, a comprehensive 2016 report by the US National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine found no substantiated evidence of adverse health effects from GM crops. This report reviewed over 900 studies and concluded that GM foods are as safe as their non-GM counterparts. But don't just take their word for it. The scientific community is global, and researchers from different countries have conducted independent studies to verify these findings. This international collaboration ensures that the research is robust and unbiased. Independent research from around the globe continues to support the safety of GM foods. Studies from Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas all point to the same conclusion. GM foods are safe to eat and do not pose a risk to the environment. Of course, continued research and monitoring are crucial, but the weight of evidence so far is clear. GM foods are as safe as their conventionally grown counterparts. Ongoing studies help us stay informed and ensure that any potential risks are identified and managed promptly. The scientific community remains vigilant, always seeking to improve our understanding and ensure the safety of our food supply. It's also important to note that the scientific consensus is not static. As new data emerges, scientists are willing to re-evaluate their conclusions. This commitment to ongoing research and transparency is what makes the scientific method so reliable. The collaboration between scientists and farmers is another key aspect. Farmers provide valuable insights and real-world data that help scientists refine their research. This partnership ensures that GM crops are not only safe, but also beneficial for agricultural practices. In conclusion, the extensive research conducted by the scientific community provides strong evidence that GM foods are safe. While it's natural to have questions and concerns, it's reassuring to know that experts around the world are dedicated to ensuring the safety and sustainability of our food supply. By relying on science and reason, we can make informed decisions about the foods we eat and the technologies we embrace. If you found this information valuable, consider subscribing to the eGreen channel, the brainchild of Saeed Mustafa, a dedicated public health professional and visionary. The eGreen channel is committed to delivering valuable content that empowers you to live a healthier, happier life. Stay informed, stay healthy, and stay connected.